from 2021, May 25. Do you see I can be buying a service in the world? Or because of great gratitude, I might love you and wish for your future prosperity, and therefore want to give opportunity for you to achieve that. And I help and provide for you accordingly. Now, in the case of the chap I was thinking of, he was healed by the ministry of the person he's helping. And it's a gratitude and a love in consequence that's driving him to fund the minister's ministry. But it's because he loves the minister. He's so grateful for the minister being and having blessed him. He wants the minister's prosperity. And if his prosperity is therefore to go off being minister around the world, well, that's what I want. And if it's to stay in this church and make this church prosper in some way, then that's what I want. Because you see, I love the person, not what he chooses to do. I'm so grateful to the person that what he does is up to him. How can I make it a blessing for him? It's a question of love. Do you see, the gratitude has found my way into the kingdom of heaven. I just want your true prosperity. And that's why I give to you. I had a lady, well, I didn't know her, but in England, there was Love's Homes and Bible shop. And, well, she got near dying, and she left the control of a Bible shop to a committee. Given the dedication of the manager of the shop that she had, it might have been a lot wiser, spiritually speaking, to have simply given the shop to him. You could entrust it to him because he should have been convinced of the blessing that he was in running that shop, far more than any committee of worthies appointed by other worthies, appointed by other worthies, and so on and so forth. In other words, it would have been lovelier to have simply trusted the good man and put the responsibility into his hands, delegated it entirely to him, left the shop as a private asset, because it really was so reasonable to trust him to do what was good. And that what he would have done would have been so acceptable to her because of who he is to be and how appreciative she is of not his service, not his obedience to the contract of being the manager, but in the wonderful, dedicated way he had done the job, because he believed in the job, that it was truly blessing others. And that's what you believe in. Do you see, you should have honoured that man by entrusting him to the work, because he's the right person to trust into this creative life of God, this spiritual being. Don't know how else to say it clearer, but that I give you this job because I love you, not because I'm buying your services. I give you opportunity to exercise this work because I trust you, not because I don't trust you, and if you don't provide what I find satisfactory, I will go and shop for someone who will provide the service rather better. Do you see, I'm not employing you. I'm blessing you. Because I love who you are. And when it comes to our kids, because we love who you're going to be. I love you because I know I'm your dad. And I can be such a blessing to you by encouraging and helping you. And I will find that so fulfilling. Your true welfare and prosperity is what I value and work towards. Not the goals of this organisation. You see, I can't fire the minister because he's not achieving the right output. I can't get rid of a member because they're not contributing to the fellowship in the way that I would want for the other people here. You know, you've got several kids and they fight each other. You can't get rid of either of them. You can just keep organising the home so that there's less friction and you can bless them both. You might give them a separate bedroom so they're warring with each other much less. You have to police it, that's true. But only to the extent that you have to police it. Your desire is for the welfare of all the members. You do what seems to be for the best, but you're still loving and caring within that framework. Each individual can be of benefit to the others and at cost to the others. And it's a complex as such from each individual. But if you don't see the organisation as an entity in itself, but rather the whole group as a mass of individuals, who are each created by God, and therefore to become perfect in eternity. You're not sure how that's achieved. That's what God knows better than us. Far, far more, of course, infinitely more. So we're not sure how to steer the show. We're not even sure that we should be steering the show. And therefore I can't take the helm as if I'm supposed to be doing such. What I do feel is that I'm responsible for not so much the people that I can influence, but the people that I do influence. Those that God brings into my realm of influence. And to influence me, of course. Now, of course, if I don't have a purpose of my best interest, then for my very self to be against my best interest, as I understand it, would be a disaster. Whether my actions then are in your best interest or not will determine how close and how much interaction in large measure each of us has on each other. If we feel that we're not a blessing to each other, then we'll be minimizing our interactions. This situation is breached where, for instance, I feel such a gratitude towards you for something, a blessing and a goodness you've done in my life. I'm purposed very much for your blessing, because it will be your blessing from my perspective of what is your blessing. But it will be motivated by what is your blessing, not just what's my blessing. So you are to love your neighbour as yourself, because the neighbour was one who rescued you from dire straits, and you value his help and his contribution to you, that you become selfless, or what we really mean is yourself has been enlarged to include him, as it's as important that he finds life eternal as it is for you. So you are in a very special relationship with the person who's rescued you. You are overwhelmingly motivated for his welfare, perhaps to the same extent as your own, in that you want him very much to have the kingdom of heaven. It'd be a great loss to you if he doesn't have it. You might still be putting yourself first, but he matters a great deal to you. Now, if I love everyone else in my locality and universe equally, well, I just dissipate my energies, and I have so much confusion, don't I, in that what seems to be your welfare is not improving their welfare, and they're just as important to me as you are. The whole thing starts to collapse. So, I am not someone running a church. I am a person bound for life eternal. And on the way I come across people who are spectacularly helpful in rescuing me back into that path. They are my priority. You see, love is priority. I love this relative to that. If I love them all the same, then I don't love any of them. I don't have the resources. I don't give any priority. It's not love. The whole point about the mother is she loves her children. They are her children. And that pulls on her heart far more than other children. When she looks at other children, she wants them to be rescued as well, but she's not putting in one fraction of the effort that she's putting into her own kids. I don't mean she isn't kind to the neighbour's children, but she's not charging in there rescuing them from their parents. Unless, of course, she sees that the parents are absolutely appalling, in which case she may just try to do just that. Rescue the kiddie from the appalling parents. What I'm saying is, it is the structure of this universe that you have favourites. This surprises me. I thought the God that has no favourites. And that is true, because God is not of this universe. He has created this universe within himself, his own mind, as I understand it. But that's not the point. What is the point is that he is fully resourceful. The children, you and I, are not. And so our activities are diminutive. They're on a very small scale. We love just one or two people very well. We have a best friend. And we practice being loyal to and imagining and dreaming and hoping for what that loyalty will bring. Now, we learn by experience, of course, that some friends are a very bad choice. You shouldn't marry this person. They'll wreck your life, not bless it. Because you're drawn in by satisfaction of some particular want. Perhaps it's companionship, perhaps it's pleasure. Perhaps you just want a great companion to travel the world with. We're drawn into it for the wrong reasons. You should be drawn into a situation where the person that you're valuing most is the one who's rescued you when you're in dire straits. Now, they may not have all the qualities you need for life eternal, and you're therefore, after a while, sort of distance them from the fellowship point of view. But your motivation will ever be according to the strength of your gratitude for them in your life. You see, I'm not saying what should be, I'm saying what is. The commandments are not what should be. They are what they are, the principles for encouraging and bringing most likely a certain outcome that is most valuable. You can choose to follow them or not, it's up to you. The obvious, of course, if you don't love the person who rescues you, well, you're no reward. Just reward to those that should have it from your own perspective, because they help you flourish and blossom as opposed to dying on the side of the road. It would be madness not to love them as yourself. So my friend who's rescued by the ministry of the minister, I think it was from cancer or something, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was that. Not that sure actually, but rescued him anyway. He feels in response a great love for the minister, and therefore wants the minister's prosperity. And the two of them, you see, become a tremendous blessing to each other. That's what love is. And it's what love seeks out. And when you fall in love, you see someone that, oh my goodness, they could be such a blessing to me. I wish to be such a blessing to them in response. And you might find that they're not likewise inclined. They may have been happy to rescue you when they saw you on the side of the road, but they don't want to give their life to you. So the relationship does not flourish. But if it's mutual and you've rescued each other, well, that's an eternal bond. There's no way you want to lose this person who has this propensity to want to rescue you. And they feel the same way about you. You have a marriage. Now you can formalize it in a lifelong commitment. But it's only formalizing it. The marriage, if you like, the ceremony, the registry of this with your society is simply in recognition of the existence of relationship. This has come to be found to be established. That there's a mutual love between you. And that will just increase and increase. If it doesn't, something terribly wrong has cut across the relationship. And as love is goodness and godliness, that which has cut across it is what we classify as ungodliness and evil. And to be guarded against with great determination for good. Thank you, Dad. Now, in the case of my friend who's paying this minister's stipend, the gratitude is probably to God as well. It may be seen strongly in that light. And therefore, part of the giving to the minister is because she sees the minister's life as right with God. That's important because he has a relationship himself with God, and the minister is both the cause of that and partner of his responsibility in some sense. His love of God is to promote the minister all he can in gratitude to him, but also in gratitude to God. Now we have to put God first. Be madness not to, because of our understanding that, well, God is complete, perfect, wonderful. So it might be a time that there's a conflict between the one you love as yourself and what you understand to be your love of God. But you'll continue loving the one who rescued you. in the context of loving God. Do you see in terms of the ones that, in terms of other children, you will still be loving the one that rescued you as yourself. You will always want him to be in that relationship that you want for yourself, because you love him as yourself, because of the gratitude of his earlier help. You are quite simply in a relationship with the person that rescued you, in that you're ever there to rescue them into life eternal. We are in this respect children of God, just like our Father, who's chosen to always love us, meaning wanting our life eternal to be so for us, ever disposed to do so because he's our dad, and he's a perfect dad. Mums and dads have this quality of wanting the best for their kids. This quality is one of the main motivations in our life. And we're in great turmoil and unhappiness when we have it towards two of our children, and they're at odds with each other and causing each other harm. Nothing can be more upsetting for the parent than that people that you love are not loving each other. We are greatly stressed to bring harmony if we possibly can. And God can, of course. Thank you, Dad. So what appeared as a church organisational problem can be a really real spiritual problem, in that you can have one of your children such a menace to the others, you've got to separate them. You've got to put a wall between them. It's not that you stop loving the one who's being troublesome. It's that you have to protect the others and continue to love. You see, let him be unto thee as a heathen man. That's what the Samaritan was. But he was more godly than you thought, because he still rescued you when you needed it. Wow. So you want life eternal for him just as much as yourself.